Oh man, we're live. I
Hey
think.
guys. Yeah, we are.
Are we?
Yeah, we're live.
Woo! That's cool.
I know.
So this is our first one. If you are a subscriber to SermonCentral,
Yeah.
you've probably at some point received like an email from me. I'm Matt, and you are
Abigail. I'm the pastor's kid. So
Yes!
occasionally I send out emails that say Abigail, comma, the pastor's kid. So that's
all
me.
right. Yes, if you ever got one of those, that's Abby.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you all. But yeah, so we were thinking about, we were talking about just doing something a little different where we could interact more with y'all and also kind of speak and talk with like a weekly rhythm about things that might be important to pastors and ministry leaders, and also just maybe even congregants, church, non-church people. Yeah, what do you think about that?
Yeah. I mean, so like our biggest question is we're in the season of Lent. What does that mean?
Right.
What does that even mean? I mean, it's a buzzword. People throw it out there. Non-Christian people talk about it. Christian people talk about it. What does it mean?
Right. Yeah. So today we really want to tackle and begin talking about Lent. Today is the first day of Lent. It's Ash Wednesday, and we feel like that's fairly relevant. We've been talking about it a little bit. We've got some interesting feedback already. So we were kind of talking, it was like, man, this is just really interesting how people feel about this. So yeah, the first thing, like Abby said, that we want to kind of discuss is what does Lent mean?
Yeah.
Which I think you and I both have had fairly interesting like church experiences and upbringings. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think it would be fun to hear like what you thought Lent meant growing up, or how you've done it.
Yeah.
Say that.
For me, I mean, growing up, Lent was literally not talked about. It was completely ignored. Mm-hmm. And so, when I moved to Colorado, I went to a church that did celebrate it, and I don't know if "celebrate's" the right word when it comes to Lent. It's more observe. Yeah. But so they did observe Lent, and I went to my first Ash Wednesday service, and it was powerful. Mm-hmm. It just was really powerful.
Yep.
So that's kind of my brief. Summary. But yeah.
Yeah, I like what you're saying. I think, and even maybe some folks watching this now or later, but there's a lot of people who are like really connecting with the liturgical service, a more structured, more kind of penitent and more, I guess, introspective maybe.
Yeah.
And like you said, it was powerful.
Yeah, it was really powerful. And yeah, the church I went to was more liturgical. And so they valued that. And I got a lot out of it. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like you. Growing up, I don't ever remember celebrating Lent.
Yeah.
Just recently, I've been learning about it. I think maybe I thought about giving something up once.
Sure.
But we're going to talk more about that later. So I guess, I was reading this, and I think that, I say this, like as if you know what this is. But Lent, I thought they said it really well. Lent's a time that offers us an opportunity to come to terms with the human condition and to consider, there's that word again, like to really think about and meditate on Christ's journey to the cross, which we celebrate at Easter, and Lent really ends at Easter.
Yeah.
So I love thinking about that journey to the empty tomb.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that really gets me pumped up.
It does.
So
yeah.
And I love how they say that, Lent being this kind of time. So Ash Wednesday, do you remember like the first time you ever saw someone with like ashes on their forehead?
I think I was a little like, weirded out,
I was too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, years later, that was me. They was on my head. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. So, yeah.
Right. Me too. Like I remember seeing people with that, and it was really interesting. I didn't quite understand it, but I was just reading that. And did you have this happen? But when they put the ashes on your forehead, they say, from dust you came, and to dust you will return. Did they say that?
They did. Yeah.
That's so powerful.
It is. It's just wow. Yeah. Again, the human condition. You're just like, wow, this is
right. Gosh, yeah, it really puts us in our place and God in His place, I think.
It does.
So
yeah,
that's cool. So cool. So we're kind of alrety tackling like the next thing we were going to talk about. Yeah, which is like who participates. So what would you say about that? Like who does participate?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's one of those things where churches can get divided on it.
Mhm.
And I don't think it
Mhm.
needs to be a point of division though. And
Right.
so even in my experience, right, never hearing about it growing up and then, just full on,
Mhm.
getting involved with it and exploring it, I don't think it needs to be that you don't do it or you do. I think
Right.
like there's so much division out there nowadays. Why are we looking for more points of it?
Right.
I don't think this needs to be a divisive thing. So who participates? All of us. I mean, we should, right? In some way or
Mhm.
another.
Right.
But I think people just don't know if their church doesn't celebrate it, how do
Right.
how do I start?
Right.
Or how do I have
Right.
those conversations around it?
Right. Yeah.
So what do you think is a good starting point, I guess, for someone who's like, this sounds great. I get that Lent is important and why it is. How do I?
Well, yeah, again, I think you have to come to terms with, I totally agree with you. I think I've found it interesting, even with our interaction with SermonCentral, that there's been very differing feelings about Lent, which I do understand, like this separation between, like separating from the Catholic Church in a liturgical style to more like Protestant evangelical, and maybe participating in these things is like, anyway, for some people, it's just too much. I get
it just
that.
rubs them the wrong way.
Totally,
Or
totally. But I'm with you. I think that when I think about the church calendar, like I just said, when I think about being a follower of Christ, and I consider having Advent is similar, but in the opposite way, like Lent, it's maybe more somber. So I think I really appreciate, and when I think about who can participate, I'm with you. Anybody can, because what you're doing is you're saying, I want to think deeper about Christ's journey on my behalf. And like my condition of really just being dust, and going back to that. So I'm with you. I think anybody can. And I also, understand if there's people that are just like, look, I can't, maybe it like gives them, it triggers something.
Totally.
Of course there's some
and again,
of that,
I think what we would say then, if that's not something that you're willing to jump all in for, what is the common ground we can at least reach?
Yeah, there you go.
You know what I mean? What's the common ground,
There you go. Yeah, which to that point, I think is think about this, right? If you are doing something that deepens your relationship with Christ, like why would I stop you from doing that?
Right. Totally.
Right? Or why would I say like, oh no, Abby, you can't do that. So that's kind of what I think is like, just go for it, man. So it brings us to this idea of like, let's pretend I want to participate. How do I choose what to do? And you were telling a story earlier, which I think would be good to share. So how do you, what have you done, or how did you choose?
I think it's a silly one. I ended up giving up chocolate, which seems like a very, I don't know, trivial. I don't know. I gave up chocolate. For me, that was a big deal. I really like my chocolate. And I don't know how if there's a right way or a wrong way to choose what you end up giving up. I think it's so much less about what you're giving up and what are you doing instead of that? How are you filling yourself with God's word? How are you spending time with him? Because if the point of giving up something is to share in the suffering with Jesus, right? Like his whole road up to the cross, and it's to really spend more time with him and reflect on his word and to be, to be filled with him, then it's more about that than it is about what you're giving up. So it's silly. I gave up chocolate. Who cares?
Was it hard?
It was.
Yeah.
It was definitely difficult. So maybe that's the key, right? Giving up something that is a little bit hard for you, but it's not about bragging to people about what I'm giving up, and it's more about the internal of spending time with Jesus,
Right.
So
because you're right. If you just say, well, I'm not going to do this thing, but like it never brings you back to a place of contemplation and meditation, then I totally understand. Like some people would say, like, what are you even doing? Like, what's the point?
Like, who cares? Oh, you gave that up. You're so holy. Who cares? You know what I mean? So it's just not using it as a way to brag to others, but just using it as a way to intentionally go to Jesus.
That's
and that's
right.
Yeah.
So I really want to tell you what I decided to do.
Oh boy. Yeah. What are you doing?
Like I told you, I haven't really done it before. So this time around, I really decided to I already get up early, but I decided to get up 30 minutes earlier in the morning and to read through the 4 Gospels during the 40 days.
Wow.
Which I think will be really, it'll hurt. Like that's going to be, actually this morning I started, and I'm not going to lie to you, right? Like,
you fallen asleep a little over the Bible, or
it was like I only got up 7 minutes earlier, but I felt like you might as well like try to celebrate the win. So, but yeah, I think that, I really wanted to be intentional about doing something, like you said, that was really going to actually like really put me in a place of, need, but then also just wanted to read about Jesus' journey. And then the third part of my time is really praying for my family, which I just feel like is always important, obviously, but want to really be pressing in on that this season. So, I guess I'll tell you in 40 days how it goes.
I want him to report back and tell me how this is going. But,
that's right.
But that's incredible. That's a really
we'll
cool
see how
thing.
it goes.
So
there
may be some good days and bad days, but
if we're in the office together and I'm a little grumps, maybe
get you a cup of coffee.
That's right. Yes, some chocolate. So I think I'm excited about the season.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And we also want to know what you all think. So comment below. Tell us, what does Lent mean to you? Who do you think? Who should participate in it? And if you've ever given something up, how did that go? Did you find yourself just getting distracted, or did you find yourself really engaging with Jesus in a unique and powerful way? Like we want to know that. So cool. Comment below and share with us because we want to learn as well.
That's right. Yeah, and you just reminded me. Actually, there's in the comments, I guess, on YouTube. I'm not so technically smart. So somewhere on YouTube, I put a link to the sermons we have about Lent.
Okay.
Because I thought, this is on YouTube. Yeah. Which is like basically anybody can watch this, right? Yep. So what if there's people who even just want to read read more about Lent? So that link's in there somewhere. Cool. So anyway.
We have a lot of incredible resources. It's not a pitch for that, but we do have some great resources on SermonCentral on Lent.
I think we can be a little biased.
Oh, we can.
Yeah. So if you are still watching and you thought this was fun, we're going to try to do this every Wednesday.
Yeah.
And we're just going to kind of tackle some other thing going on in Christendom. And I think we're going to have some fun.
Yeah, we are, for sure.
Cool.
Cool.
Should we say goodbye? How do you do that? Like,
bye, guys.
Bye. That's funny. Yes, end it.